You're watching ABC's Wide World of Sports.
The first race of the 2002 IRL season looked very much like a repeat of last year. Defending series champion Sam Hornish Jr. at one time lapped the entire field. His fourth career win was his second straight at Homestead, Miami. Now the series comes to the Desert Southwest, where Hornish recorded his first career victory a year ago. The faces of his challengers reflect a determination to end the current winning streak. Could it be today in round 2 of the IRL at Phoenix International Raceway? Castroneves has won the Indianapolis 500. Live from the 1-mile D-shaped oval outside Phoenix, Arizona, ABC Sports presents coverage of the Bombardier ATV Copper World Indy 200. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins, your host for all IRL events this year, and this is the second of 15 races on the calendar. You combine the challenge of this 1-mile track with 25 of the best open-wheel drivers in the country, and you have the making of a very exciting afternoon of racing. Now, a Bombardier ATV all-terrain vehicle is going to pace the field on the first lap, and it'll be going over 60 miles an hour, that in just a few moments. Paul Page, 21 of the 25 qualifiers, separated here by less than 1 second.
No, you got it, Bob, and the hottest among those is the defending Indianapolis 500 champion, Helio Castroneves. He's the one in the fire suit. This is a Sports Illustrated swimsuit photo shoot. We look at the starting grid. The arrows mark former winners in the league. He's on the pole. Sam Hornish Jr., our first winner, is outside. Row 2, Jeff Ward and Felipe Giafone. Now remember at Miami when Thomas Scheckter bounced his owner and partner into the wall? Scheckter is inside row 3. On the outside is Robbie Buell. Row 4 is Gilles de Ferran and Billy Boat. In the 5th row, Buddy Lazier and Eliseo Salazar. Row 6, Jacques Lazier and Laurent Redon, a rookie. Back in row 7, Anthony Lazaro and Rick Treadway, both rookies. The 8th row, Scott Sharp and Eddie Cheever Jr. Ayrton Dare is in row 9, along with Al Unser Jr. The 10th row, John DeVries and Hideki Noda. Robbie McGee is in the 11th row with Shigeaki Hattori. The 12th row, George Mack and John Herb. And alone in row 13 is Alex Barrett. Hi everybody, I'm Paul Page with Scott Goodyear. This is a great track. They dive, they dart, they weave. It's a very tight 1-mile circuit. And in 1999, the man who won this race, none other than Scott Goodyear. Scott, what does it take?
Well, as you can see, we're being blown around here today by the wind. The wind may become an issue. It takes great teamwork. It takes a fast driver, heads-up driving through traffic, great communication with your spotter.
Now, who's special are you looking at in the field?
Well, I liked Ayrton Dare from Miami. Jumped into A.J. Foyt's car, did a great job. I think he did a special job. He can impress again today.
Let's send you down now to the pitch in Jackaroo.
Well, Paul, in boxing, they affix a Roman numeral to rematches. If that was the case in the IRL, this would be known as Panther Penske 2. Team Panther scored in the first match a pole and a victory for their driver, Sam Hornish. But yesterday in qualifying, Penske scored the first body blows by qualifying Helio Castroneves on the pole. But Gary Gerald, that was just round 1 of what we know to be a 15-rounder.
And of course, while they're duking it out up there in front, back in the pack, 3 heavyweights who've been winners in the IRL in the past to keep an eye on. The Kelly drivers have struggled. Scott Sharp starts 15th. Teammate Al Unser is 18th. Sandwiched in between, Eddie Cheever Jr. But keep in mind, Buddy Lazier 2 years ago started dead last, and he won here at Phoenix. Paul?
Well, the field is now formed coming off of turn 2. We want to show you a couple of the stories we're going to be looking at here today. Keep track of Penske and Panther and running with the Red Bull team, Scheckter and Cheever. Well, the Kelly team have a little luck of the Iris. That's just some of the stuff we're going to keep track of for you today. The field now heading for the green flag and the start. Castroneves on the inside. Sam Hornish Jr. to the outside. Looking for the green here. Brought the flag up, but said no. Now, Rick Treadway appears to have a problem. Did a spin and came down onto the grass.
Well, guys, that's probably just cold tires. We've seen the temperatures probably 10 degrees below normal here. The guys are generally used to, and I suspect maybe we just got on the power just a bit too soon, and the car turns left because of the stagger on the tires on the rear. The right rear tire is larger than the left rear, helps the cars get around the turn because of the speed they have, and that's probably just an issue of cold tires.
At 73 degrees, we've seen temperatures above 100 here for this race. Ready to go again. Green, green, green. And they charge for the first turn. Field spreads out very quickly. Catherine Evans comes across the front of Hornish Jr. and takes the lead. And they pull away from third place, Jeff Ward.
Now these two guys are probably going to set a blistering pace, because I'll tell you, both of them were fast in warm-up today, and both of them wanted to lead the first few laps of this race.
Sam Hornish, winner of the first race, in pursuit of Helio Castroneves.
And you mentioned Jeff Ward, Paul. What a great job they've done. A little bit of testing only here this week, just before the first race. Even at Miami, not much testing, and now all of a sudden they've come out of the box here and run real strong.
There comes Jeff Ward, and then Robbie Buell just behind him. Thomas Schechter was moving up as well. Helio Castroneves. Now, Sam Hornish seemed to think that if everything went right, you'd go for it at the start as the caution comes out. And that's Hattori. That brings out the yellow. Sam Hornish said if he didn't get it right at the start, that's cool. I'm going to just sit there and let my tires run as cool as possible and not have to really push for the lead. Obviously, Chegue's okay.
Well, with the front two guys, I got to tell you, I expect that Sam is not very happy sitting back there. I cannot wait for the restart.
So as the safety team gets Hattori back into the act, we'll be back right after this.
Under caution here at Phoenix International Raceway, the caution brought out by Shige Hattori spin. He's driving for Buzz Calkins, a recently retired driver. Scott Goodyear talked about it. Every driver who has competed here will tell you that Phoenix International is indeed a hard track to drive.
What makes Phoenix tough is the race. It's a bull ring. I mean, you're fighting out there. You're almost touching people. You may even be touching people, but you're tight. It's not multiple lines. You just got to go out there and fight your way to the front.
The corners are so different, 1 and 2 to 3 and 4, and it's real difficult to get the car balanced at one end and then not be loose at the other end.
It's kind of a tight little track where you really have to work traffic well and be able to stay out in front all day.
It's a racetrack that has two distinctly different corners, and so your race car handles differently when you exit turn 2 versus the way you exit or get into turn 3 and 4.
It's close racing, wheel-to-wheel IndyCar racing, tremendous rate of speeds, 180, 200 miles an hour down the straightaway on a 1-mile oval, pure, awesome open-wheel racing.
Well, we're getting set to go green again as Helio Castroneves picks up the pace. And we look for the green flag. There it is. And now we'll see what Hornish can do. Oh, take a look at Thomas Schechter.
A great restart. Great opportunity at this time to get past people on restarts, because when you get up to speed, it's a little bit more difficult once in a while to be able to pass them, because they're always a bit more in a defensive mode.
Schechter there in that blue and yellow Red Bull car. His teammate and boss, Eddie Cheever, also got a great start on the first green flag, jumping from 16th up to 12 in just 3 green flag laps.
Well, we watched Eddie just a little while ago have some problems in qualifying, was not happy at all, and turned around and changed the motor this morning and just put a fresh motor in, and I expect that they're going to be back up in the horsepower scale.
So again, trying to help all of us with these cars. Cheever's and Schechter's are identical, with the exception Cheever's has red numbers and Schechter's are yellow. Castroneves, Sam Hornish, the Panther Pennzoil Gall. We're looking back at third place as Robbie Buell trying to make a move on Jeff Ward.
Now, interesting here, Paul, is that both those first two cars are Dallara chassis. The next two of Ward and of Buell are G-Force chassis. One obviously has an Infiniti engine with Robbie Buell. The other one has a Chevrolet engine with Jeff Ward, but both those chassis are running strong. The chassis numbers here in this series are outnumbered 22 chassis for Dallara and 4 chassis for G-Force. And out of the top 4 cars right now, they're not having a bad odds.
All clear around. The red number 9 in second place, that is Jeff Ward. He just signed his deal after the test in the West, so he didn't have a chance to test here at Phoenix at all. He's got to be very pleased with the fact he's up running third.
Well, he's running with a team that's won the Indianapolis 500, obviously with Ganassi, with Montoya behind the wheel. A very professional team, very well organized, and you can only think that they're just going to get stronger as the season goes on.
And this is the first time we've actually seen the car carrying the Target logo on the side of the car, so maybe they finally got a deal down there as well.
Well, it helps you and me being able to identify them. We don't mind that.
Jeff Ward, then Buell. Here comes Schechter. Behind them, Felipe Giafoni, and then Buddy Lazier, who has been running some blindingly fast laps as he comes forward. Here's Buddy for you.
Now recall that Buddy won this race starting from way behind just a couple of years ago. I remember that because I ended up finishing second and could not catch him.
Coming back to the front of the field. There's Castroneves. In 2000, Buddy started 26 and won it. The leaders are closing now on traffic already.
That's the one thing about this racetrack. We heard the guys talk about it before. It's a bull ring. It's only 1 mile, 20-second laps. You come up upon traffic very quickly. Here we're going to find out whose car is working best in traffic.
Oh.
And Sam goes underneath them too.
And I checked with Helio Castroneves' crew on how the handles are on that car, Scott. And Helio likes the car with the exception of exiting turn 4. Meanwhile, as you ride on board with Sam Hornish Jr., they're not at all upset about the fact that Hornish is riding behind Castroneves at this time. In fact, they feel that they want to keep Sam right there for at least the early going of the race. But they did say until he gets in traffic.
Marlboro Team Penske is out in front. The teammate Helio Castroneves, Gilles de Ferran, currently sitting back in 8th place as we look at the Firestone onboard telemetry on Sam's car.
Look at the speed that they're getting, almost 180 miles an hour going into the turns, just down to 156 in the middle of the turns. Remember, they got full fuel on right now. The car is very heavy, used tires from qualifying, but look at the throttle trace. Not off it that much going into turn. A little bit here with Sam in traffic, and look how close he gets to the traffic.
Well, John heard that he went around, and now they will have to run through quite a bit of traffic. And that's part of what makes Phoenix so much fun. Well, maybe for us, maybe not for you guys in the cockpit, Scott.
Well, I can remember looking at some stats, and of all the drivers that competed here for their very first time, much like Jacques Lazier is doing today, a lot of them do not finish because they end up getting caught out in traffic and getting into an accident.
Getting back to the comment from Sam Hornish Jr. that he might just stay behind and keep his tires cool.
Well, absolutely. I think what they're looking at right now is just making sure that they're running smooth and getting through traffic and understanding what's going on with the car. Don't forget, they're running for a championship.
Let's go down to Gary Gerald. A couple of guys, Gary, are complaining about handling.
Oh, it's amazing how many are complaining right off the bat. Cheever, Al Unser Jr., Robbie Buell, and Buddy Lazier, all 4 of them indicating problems. Buell is up there, of course, battling for a top 4 spot, or had been, but he says that on the radio they think it's because of this wind that's come up. And Scott, you touched on that.
Going for the lead. Sam Hornish uses Rick Treadway as a pick and takes off the lead. At Treadway in the Airlink car, remember, he got in trouble right on the start. Hornish grabbed the lead, and now Helio Castroneves for Marlboro Team Penske is sitting back and having to figure out how to deal with Treadway.
Well, I watched this throughout the whole last couple of days, and the Marlboro cars were not working as well in traffic as the Panther car. Now, it was interesting to see that Castroneves got the door closed on him, as we call it, trying to go underneath the low line, but Ricky Treadway was just doing what he was supposed to do and wasn't looking in his mirrors.
So Sam Hornish Jr. now in front. He's led in each of the last 8 IRL races. Too short of Tony Stewart's all-time record of leading 10 races in a row. There's the top of the field. We'll be back. Welcome back as you watch Jeff Ward. Thomas Scheckter just put a move on him. Was unbelievable. There's Thomas. He's now behind Rick Treadway as he works through traffic for the first time here at Phoenix. But what a sweet move to put Scheckter into third.
Paul, that was very impressive. He got up to turn 3, went around the outside of Ward, and drove around here like he'd been around here for about 3 or 4 years. Remember, he's a rookie here, and this is only his 2nd oval race.
Hornish Jr. is still out in front, followed by Castroneves. Then this car, the Red Bull machine of Thomas Scheckter. The target car, bright red car of Jeff Ward, now closes, traps him.
Getting caught in a little bit of traffic off of 4, as we talked about in the show. Traffic is always an issue here. You have to time your passes, come out of the turn with speed to hopefully get around the traffic in front of you.
I'm saying Scheckter was very lucky there that whole group didn't move up and trap him and go around.
He could have lost 3 or 4 spots, but the people behind him, Ward, everybody else had lost some momentum, because look at the pack behind him right there. There's a bunch of guys looking to take that spot away.
Scheckter finally is able to clear Rick Treadway. Now here comes Ward, followed by Buell. Alex Barron started 24th, now 15th. Al Unser Jr. started 18th, now 13th. But your guy, your pick, Ayrton Dare, he's way back there.
I've lost some money in the pool, I guess, today.
Dare has gone a lap behind the lead of the race. A.J. Foyt today celebrating his 500th start as an owner or an operator, as a driver.
And Paul, for Ayrton Dare, this is still a learning situation with the chassis of this race car. Dare, before, had driven only G-forces, switched over to the Dallara, and he said, well, in Miami, the Dallara was not as difficult to drive as he thought it would be when they got here to Phoenix. Indeed, it turned out to exacerbate the differences between the 2 chassis. It was so bad, in fact, Scott, they couldn't use any of the setups that Ayrton Dare had used here before in his appearances at Phoenix.
And Jack, Robbie Buell just grabs 4th away from Ward. There's Buell in the Purex car.
And Paul, Buell is talking and complaining about a vibration on the right front. That's all the more amazing that he was able to gain one of those positions back.
Well, one of the concerns, Scott, that the drivers had was there was a Silver Crown race before this race, different type of rubber, and the question was whether or not the Firestones would hold up with all that other rubber on the track. Not hold up so much as how much might they pick up and what might it do to what they learned.
Well, Firestone builds the best tire in the business, Paul, and they're so smooth, they're so consistent, and they're fast. As we're watching Robbie Buell sneak underside.
Look at this, look at this. Buell goes around Scheckter. So Scheckter just got a great lesson. And, wait a minute, there may be more to it than that. Here comes Ward.
Paul, I think there's a motor problem for Scheckter.
Yeah, he's already on the road. You spotted a little, it looked like a flume at the back of the car.
A little smoke coming out of the back of the car, guys, there just a lap before, and also when he got off the throttle coming into the pits. So I guess they're going to look at it and look underneath the engine bay and see what's up.
You could hear it, guys, as they went by the front straightaway just as the pass was being made. It sounded like a flat engine. It just didn't have that normal full race sound.
Well, so Thomas Scheckter has the calling come off. There's Sam Hornish, and surprisingly just coming around Jacques Lazier. So once again, we got Hornish flying with this field. Next Sunday, Sam Hornish Jr. and the rest of the field will be at the first IRL race at California Speedway in the Yamaha Indy 400. Live coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern, and Indy racing today starts our day at 2:30 p.m. on ESPN. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. So is Sam Hornish Jr. on his way to doing it again? Look at, when we compare where Sam sits to the 3 car of Helio Castroneves and the 24 car of Robbie Buell. Jack Arute?
Well, Paul, with that early caution, it has moved the pit window just a tad, and to the point where some teams actually are thinking about just 2 stops, but they will need some caution. First stop should be coming for many of these teams between lap 65 and lap 70. Now, Pennzoil Panther would like to bring their car in as close to 70 as possible. They don't anticipate making any changes on the car. Boy, that's going to be bad news for the competition.
Well, just passing over the 46th lap of the race. Oh, 2-stopper. Gary Gerould?
Thomas, tell us what happened, because you look so good working your way up to the top 3.
The car was good. It's a pity we had a problem with the engine. It's really sad because the Nissan Infiniti engine's been beautiful the whole weekend. Very unfortunate. You know, we just have to regroup and try to get to Fontana, get some, you know, get a good position. I just feel sorry for the guys. They did a good job on the car.
Thank you very much. Got a problem on the track, Paul?
Yeah, the caution has just come out, and this is for Hattori again. This time it involves some contact. Look at the left front on that thing, and there are a couple of pieces laying down in turn 1.
A little bit of contact with the wall. We didn't see the very beginning of it. We'll try and find that for you, but remember, he just got this program together just in the last week or so.
Go back and take a look. Watch for Hattori, silver and blue car. Whoa, just up into the marbles. So as Hattori is able to drive it back despite the damage, we are now wondering, there's part of the debris that's out in the corner. We're told to maybe expect 10 stops from all of the leaders, but the pits are still closed.
Well, when we saw that replay, what happened is that he was just high in the line off the dark area where all the rubber is, where all the cars run. He was up in what we call the gray area in the marbles, and once you get up there, the car just sucks itself up to the wall and you have no control.
So waiting for the pits to open. There is Sam Hornish Jr. They have not yet opened for him. That Menard car behind him is Jacques Lazier, who had just gone a lap down. And look here, Allenser Jr. slowing down on the front stretch. Boy, they have had a very tough weekend. Log on to ESPN.com, keyword ABC IRL, to check out our new Speedcast real-time race results and IRL Challenge fantasy game.
Well, whatever was going on with Al Jr., he seems like he's back up and going again.
Well, the pits are now open, so next time around, looks from looking out and checking the field like most of the leaders will be coming in. There is Sam Hornish, feels off.
0 fuel halfway down.
And with that yellow coming out, guys, it saved Eddie Cheever from going down a lap because Sam Hornish was very close to putting him a lap down also.
Halfway to you. At the corner.
Now, Sam Hornish is pitted just around the corner. It's kind of a blind spot. But the crew comes to work. They are not going to make any changes on this car. Meanwhile, 2 pit stalls behind Sam Hornish is Helio Castroneves. They are not going to make any changes on Castroneves' car, but he has a little bit of a problem getting around Jeff Ward. That's the blind corner we were talking about. Castroneves is having some difficulty, though, getting high in turns 3 and 4. A close call there, fellas.
Yeah, he almost had a major difficulty, and the league officials, they've cautioned the guys, be very careful when you start turning around that corner on the pit road, because there's still 3 cars pitted down there, and they include guys like our leader, Sam Hornish.
Under caution here at PIR. We'll be back to green in just a moment. Meanwhile, we want to bring you up to date on what happened in the Formula One race today at Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Michael Schumacher on the pole, Juan Montoya alongside. The 2 collide at the start. Montoya goes offline here off the racetrack. It turns out that Ralf Schumacher comes home as the winner of the Malaysian Grand Prix. Juan Pablo Montoya did come back to finish second, with Michael Schumacher third, then Jenson Button, Nick Heidfeld, and Felipe Massa. Now we have 4 races. Make that 4 races on ABC this year. The Formula One Grand Prix of Monaco, that'll be on May 26th at 3:30. The Canadian Grand Prix June 9th, September 15th Italian Grand Prix, and the U.S. Grand Prix at Indianapolis on September the 29th on ABC. All right, there is Sam Hornish Jr. He is the leader of the race under caution. Elio Castroneves is second, followed by Robbie Buell, then Felipe Giafoni, and Buddy Lazier. Those are the top 5. They are going back to green in about a half a lap. We're coming off a caution caused by a spin involving Shigeaki Hattori and then also a slight brush with the wall up in turn number 1. We have had 2 leaders so far today. Hornish has led 33, Castroneves 22. Paul Page, they're back to green.
Sam Hornish acknowledges the green flag. 2 cars separate him from second place Elio Castroneves. Scott Sharp and Jacques Lazier. Castroneves gets alongside of Jacques Lazier and now takes a look at Sharp so he can go for the lead. Hornish begins to inch away as we show you the pit in and pit out. Gilles de Ferran really dropped down. He apparently tapped one of his crew members on the way in. Jack Arut's going to check that for you. Don't believe it to be a serious injury, but we'll find out. And that certainly accounted for the longer pit time and the drop to 7th. Look at Buell. Very, very pretty as Buell goes to second around Elio Castroneves.
And a nice move. Remember, these guys just filled up with fuel. 4 fresh Firestone tires. Buell has run strong in every session. I don't think he's been outside the top 6 all weekend. Talked to him a little bit earlier, and they felt very confident with their race car.
And Scott, we talked with Dennis Reinbold during the break and said, what kind of changes? He said, the vibration problem seemed to take care of itself, but he said, we may put a little wing in, and we believe that they did that on a routine stop. Whatever they've done, that car looks like it's magic at the moment.
Well, as we were talking a little bit earlier, the tire rubber here from the other classification of racing that's been going on usually puts up some marbles, and until these guys are out there running for a while and clear the track off of that rubber, sometimes those right side wheels end up picking up the rubber from the track and getting onto the tire itself, and it just feels like the car is out of balance, but there's nothing wrong with the tire. It's just picking up the old rubber from, say, the open wheel cars.
Jack Arut, what's the story on that de Ferran pit stop?
Well, both de Ferran and Elio Castroneves had problems coming into their pit boxes. Now, nobody was hurt, but the car slid a bit. One of the reasons why they slid, Paul, is the fact that unlike most places, the pit stalls here at Phoenix are not concrete. They are blacktop. Blacktop is made with oil. On a warm day, the oil will seep up, and it will make some treacherous footing, and that caught both teams a bit by surprise.
Now watching Gilles de Ferran with a very aggressive Felipe Giafoni right behind him in the Hollywood car.
And Felipe, Paul, is one of the guys that came out, just seemed to like nowhere. He was always in the top 10, but in qualifying did very well. Again, another team that worked on their race setup from the moment they got here, weren't putting that much emphasis on qualifying.
And least we forget the lesson of the year 2000 here at Phoenix, just behind Felipe Giafoni. You'll find Buddy Lazier just slowly working his way up, taking it easy, staying in the fight. Remember, he ran from 26 to the front to take the win in 2000.
Eddie Cheever has a great quote about Buddy Lazier. If he's in your mirrors with 20 laps left to go, you're probably in trouble.
Gilles de Ferran again to help with identifications. De Ferran's car has a white intake and camera pod on top of the car. You see it there over his helmet, and his helmet is predominantly white. While Elio Castroneves, his Marlboro Team Penske teammate, has that Marlboro red on his intake and his camera. Jack Arut, what's the story on Jeff Ward? Well, he dropped back to 8th.
Well, he dropped back to 8th after that pit stop because during that pit stop, they discovered a problem with the right front on the right front Firestone on that target machine. They've made some chassis adjustments, but boy, this early in a race, Scott Goodyear, you don't want to have to deal with a hot right front tire, especially on a bull ring like this place.
Well, the most important thing that he has to worry about, Jack, is not going down a lap. If we stay green for a long period of time and his speed starts to go off and drop away and the leaders come up from behind him, he goes down a lap, very difficult to get it back.
That's George Mack running low, Anthony Lazzaro in there as well. Both of them seem to be, well, Lazzaro seemed to be slowing down. George Mack, he's going to end up being a great story. That black car number is 31, but they have on the side 301. And George Mack, great go-karter out of Southern California. Back to the leaders, Sam Hornish, who is now leading second place, Robbie Buell, and third place, Helio Castroneves. We'll return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Phoenix, that's DeVries. He got in trouble and just slammed the car hard. Rescue team is there. Caution is out. This just occurred as we were rejoining with you. We'll send you over now to Bob Jenkins. Bob?
John DeVries, of course, a rookie in the Indy Racing League. Here's what happened. The car actually went in an area that is inside of the wall, and the car hard into the fence and the front end of the car getting up into the catch fencing. So John DeVries took quite a ride there, but the good thing is, as you can see, he has climbed out of the car under his own power and appears to be okay. The drivers, when they have an incident like this on the racetrack, are required to go to the infield medical center to get checked over, but it would appear as if John DeVries is in good shape. Although a very, very scary incident, Scott. I don't know that I've ever seen a car go into that opening where the safety trucks go out onto the track.
Well, that's something that's very strange, because when you come out of 2 and he came off the turn, and what ended up happening was he ended up having back into the car, come around and come on the inside of the course, which is something you don't see very often. You can see he's already backwards here, which means the car started over here, came through the infield, in through the gate, as you mentioned, Bob, and what ends up happening is that you're just a passenger. Now you're going to get into the gravel, which is an area that you're not supposed to be in, and you see the car, the nose of the car will actually pick itself up, go into the fence, but very fortunately, he gets out of the car.
It wouldn't take him much for the car to have overturned, but unfortunately, the catch fencing did keep the car upright, came to a rest, and DeVries quickly tore off the steering wheel and is now in good shape. So we are under caution once again as pit stops are being made here at Phoenix International Raceway. That is Al Unser Jr. who is making a quick pit stop. We're on lap 79 of the race, and Team Kelly goes to work on the Corteco car.
And he needed to make that pit stop, Bob, because he didn't come in the last time, so this was really fortuitous for the Corteco team.
Being shown in 11th position, the last car on the lead lap. We'll be right back. The Bombardier ATV Copper World Indy 200 at Phoenix International Raceway is 82 laps old. We are under caution because of an accident out on the backstretch involving John DeVries. He's out of the car and appears to be okay. Right now, Hornish has pretty much dominated the race, but, you know, with Team Panther, as with any team in the Indy Racing League, it takes a good driver, but more importantly, it takes good teamwork.
Sam Hornish Jr.'s rise to the top of the racing world hasn't been alone. For the 25 members of the Panther Pack, race weekends alongside the current Indy Racing League champ is a lot of work.
And I didn't want to go flat all the way around because I wanted to conserve the tires, because I knew we had a little bit of a push off of 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah, because we noticed on telemetry you weren't quite flat there. I didn't know if that's because you had a problem.
The secret is a lot in the team. The guys at Pennzoil Panther Racing, they put 100% winning effort into putting the car together every time they do it.
Was it loose going into the corner, Sam, or loose coming off?
He's very quiet when he's in the car, but when we ask him a direct question, his feedback's very, very good indeed.
Good run, Sam. How are we doing?
The car was really neutral at the beginning of the run. I stiffened up the front bar and softened up the rear bar to give it a little bit of push because I just wasn't sure of it yet.
If you don't believe you're the best, you never will get to be the best.
Did changing the roll bars have any effect on the balance?
My biggest problem is not to screw it up.
The spotter is former Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, Poncho Carter, and he and Hornish have hit it off.
Outside, clear.
Everybody thinks I'm telling him how to drive, and you can't tell a race driver how to drive.
The team's cheerleader is Kevin Blanche. The Rocket's enthusiasm is a perfect mesh for the laid-back Hornish.
So the first stop, we're just going to come in, change tires, shut the motor off, leak check. Yep. Okay, I got to help him.
Everybody on this team works really hard, gives a lot of effort.
Great job, Sammy! Great job, buddy! You're the man!
He's a lot of inspiration on the radio. He really gets me pumped up. Sometimes he scares me a little bit on the radio because he's got so much emotion when he's on the radio.
20, 30,
feel I know Sam well enough. I know what it's going to take to get him going at times.
That kid's a cowboy.
You don't want to, you know, make your driver mad. You want to make your driver hungry. So you want to make him understand what he has to do in the car.
Co-owner John Barnes oversees a Panther Pack, which opened this new 30,000 square foot race shop a year ago. The immaculate facility is perfect for the current Kings of the Hill.
It's taken a few years to get the right people in here, and we're really excited about the future.
We have a lot of pride. Panther Racing has a lot of spirit, a lot of attitude, and a lot of pride. We're a family, and we look out for each other, and we take care of each other, and we're proud of who we are.
Okay, Sammy, we're going to do another practice pit stop. Keep your engine running until the car hits the ground. Great session, Sam. Thanks, guys.
One guy that's a co-owner of this team that is missing from pit road is Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh has a brand new job, fellas. They're going to make an announcement in Oakland that he has become the brand new quarterback coach for the NFL's Oakland Raiders, Bob Jenkins.
Obviously, the Pennzoil Panther team has their stuff together. They won the last race last year. They won the first race this year, and they're leading here, Paul.
Hornish answers the green flag. The two Penske cars go side by side behind Buell, who is currently second. Trouble. Several cars get together. Felipe Giafoni is one of them.
A multiple car crash, and one thing that happens after a long yellow like that, guys, the tires get cold. And unless the drivers get the tires back up to some temperature, coming up to that green flag, the car can always be a little bit neutral, as we call it, and can come out from underneath you.
The black number 10 Scott Trade car, that's Robbie McGee. And the 31 car is George Mack. We mentioned him earlier. Here's all the drivers moving. Looks like everybody's okay, but boy, they're a very expensive moment. So, Bob, it looks, yeah, we see Robbie climbing out. It looks like everybody's going to be okay out of this one.
Does indeed. There you can see Robbie is out. And in the pit area, meanwhile, Jeff Ward is in, and this does not look like a good situation. This is not a routine pit stop. This looks like a bad situation for Team Ganassi and Jeff Ward. Now, here is this incident once again just after the green.
Oh, you can see, guys, you're trying to put 3 cars in an area where there is only room enough for 2. And you saw some other guys come from the back and get involved in that accident at the same time, because what ends up happening, you see a lot of stuff happening in front of you. You don't have an area to go to, and yet drivers from behind just turn around and miss their judgment, as you will.
On board with Sam Hornish as he comes in for another pit stop, Jackaroo.
And Bob, this will certainly throw the pit strategy right out the window for the Hornets team. Having a problem getting the car back into gear. They still haven't gotten it into gear. Trying to find it. And now they've turned it off. They've gone beyond their pit stall.
Put it in neutral.
You hear the radio, very calm now.
Recycled ECU.
And Jackaroo, you'll remember he had this problem at a couple of races last year, but he was always able to make it up on the racetrack. It'll be interesting to see if he can do it today. He's finally rolling.
Take an easy exit. You guys don't lose any more time. You only lost about 3 cars. So. It's all right, Sammy. It's all right.
John Barnes, what exactly happened during that pit stop?
He had a little trouble trying to get the thing downshifted, and he couldn't get it into first when he left here, so he'll be all right.
We've seen this before, though, with this team, and I can't remember, was it Pikes Peak where he had this situation?
No, actually, Homestead last year, we won that one.
There you go. There's some confidence for you, fellas.
Well, as we mentioned, this is a team that works very well together, and they know their driver, Sam Hornish Jr., is capable of winning the race. Right now, with 90 laps completed, he has led 67 of the laps, but he is not going to be up front when we go back to green in just a moment. We go back and take a look at why we are under caution here.
Now, as all the cars come in, guys, you end up seeing that we have it here and it's already going around, but earlier on, what ended up happening is you had 3 cars trying to get into an area where there was only room for 2. The outside car started to come down, cut off the middle car, and then they ended up bumping, and then the end result is no one has enough space to get through the turn.
hard contact by Felipe Giafoni and McGee and Mack. And from another angle, Scott.
And watch what happens here. As the cars go into the turn, look on the very bottom here. You got 3 guys, 1, 2, 3. And as we move forward, you end up seeing that the top car is going to come down, start to squeeze on the middle car. And in the end result, takes all the room away and they just touch. And at that time, guys, you're just a passenger and you're going off into the wall, and all you can do in your mind and think about is, I hope it's not going to be too hard.
And that was Billy Boat that just missed being involved in the incident. Boat had a problem during warm-up this morning. They changed engines in that car. Well, all 3 drivers are now out of their cars. George Mack, the driver of the 310 Racing Machine, was the last to be extricated from his car. As you can see, he has been placed on the stretcher and will be taken to the Infield Medical Center for further evaluation. But Felipe Giafoni and Robbie McGee are okay. With this caution and with pit stops, the standings have certainly juggled. Eddie Cheever Jr. is the leader of the race, with Al Unser Jr. second, then Eliseo Salazar, Gil de Ferran, and Helio Castroneves. Sam Hornish finds himself back in 8th position. We've just had an accident down the racetrack. George Mack has been taken to the Infield Care Center. Earlier, John DeFries was involved in an incident. Here's Gary Gerald.
And John has been released from the medical center. That was a big crash out there. Can you tell us what happened, John, and how it got away from you?
The back end in turn 2 just came real loose. It was real loose all day, and it just came from under me, and it was just went for a ride.
How scary was it?
Oh, it was scary, you know, coming in. I didn't know where I was at. Next thing I know, I was in a gravel, going head on into the fence and the wall.
We get a quick word with Alex Barron, who's just walked up out of the race. Rear end problems after you made a good push to get to midfield, Alex?
Yeah, we were moving up pretty quickly, and then something broke on the rear end. It felt like somebody hit me from behind, but just something let go, so the rear of the car was all over the place. But it's a shame. We were running really well.
The bull rings, a lot of strange things happen. Jack, you're with another guy that's got problems.
Yeah, Jeff Ward was collected in the target machine in that last crash, Jeff.
Yeah, I just got caught up on a couple of guys that were a little eager there that restart. Had nowhere to go, but I got to thank the guys at Chip, Ganassi Racing. They've done a tremendous job. Target. It's just we got a long way to go, and we got a fast car today, but we'll just have to watch.
Well, Chip will be in Fontana next week. Maybe that'll change the team's luck.
Well, we had good luck down Miami, but I hope that'll get us our first win. It'd be nice if he's there. So.
Let us update you as well on what has transpired with Sam Hornish on his machine. You saw the problems that he had while he was trying to come out of the pits. They have lost first gear. Now that will only create a problem, Scott, when he pulls into the pits and tries to pull out yet again. The team has already formed a battle plan. They told Hornish, they said, don't worry, we only have one more stop to go. We'll just push real hard.
Well, 2 quick things, absolutely. He's at the very first pit box. He'll have lots of room to get out, and the guys will just get behind him and push him, and that first gear will only be used leaving the pits.
Eddie Cheever Jr. is the leader of the race right now. We have a couple of more races before this year's edition of the Indianapolis 500. It's not surprising when you ask Eddie Cheever what's his most memorable moment at Indy.
The greatest moment for me was passing the checkered flag and knowing it was over, and had all these memories of my dad. And those were cool. And it was all this happens really quickly. I mean, all these people are standing, and you're tired, but you're really happy. You've just won the biggest race of your lifetime, the biggest race of the year. And from that moment on, for 365 days, you're in a tornado. Every day somebody wants something, and your whole life changes from that point on. But those 30 seconds that I had from when I passed the checkered flag and I got to the pits were magical.
Back at Phoenix International Raceway, where we are still under caution. Join ABC Sports for the World Figure Skating Championships presented by Expedia.com. Coverage begins Thursday night with American Timothy Gable in the men's finals and continues Saturday night with a rematch for the Olympians. ABC Sports Online previews the World Figure Skating Championships. Read it now at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. And the leader of the race relinquishes it. That's Eddie Cheever Jr. to make a pit stop.
And Bobby Rayhead was through. He said, what the hell am I doing on top of the leaderboard? And they said, relax, Eddie. We're going to have to come into the pits. We were just making a gamble. Also to update you on Al Unser Jr., he's going to have to pit as well as Eliseo Salazar. And lo and behold, maybe that means Gil de Ferran will find his way back to the lead.
Well, it has been a very interesting and action-packed race already here at Phoenix International Raceways. We are at the halfway point. Before the green flag came out, Rick Treadway, we presume on cold tire spins. Shigeaki Hattori on lap number 4 has a problem. He spins, however, does not make contact. Lap number 23, and Sam Hornish Jr. and Helio Castroneves were going at it for the lead. Castroneves slow, Hornish high around Treadway, and Hornish takes the lead. Lap number 41, Thomas Scheckter, who had run in the top 3, out with a mechanical failure. Lap number 46, again, Shigeaki Hattori. A little more serious incident there, banging the wall up in turn number 1. On the 77th lap of the race, rookie John DeFries slides into the inner part of the racetrack, hits the wall hard, and also into the catch fencing. Then the big accident on lap number 88, Felipe Giafoni, Robbie McGee, and George Mack, hard contact outside. And that brings us up to date as Paul, the green is out again with Al Unser Jr. leading.
Al Unser Jr. has only stopped once. That helped put him in the lead. On board Sam Hornish, that Coors Light car. That's Lazier, Buddy Lazier down on the inside. Hornish way, way high, but he hangs on to it.
That's clear.
Eliseo Salazar currently in second place.
Clear.
Here's something to think out. Al Unser Jr. is 24. We've got another yellow. Coming off of turn 2. Scott Sharp is obviously involved.
Lazaro or someone spun in front of me, know where to go, boys.
So you hear the description from Scott Sharp himself in the cockpit.
And you can just hear the frustration on his voice. Obviously fought with a car all day long that maybe wasn't working as well as he wanted to, but was thinking about championship points, and you could just hear the frustration when he took the steering wheel off.
Eddie Cheever, second race of the season, second race that Cheever is involved with contact with the wall.
They are going to have one big, large repair bill over the last couple of races, guys. That's a third car in 2 races. Very big disappointment for Team Cheever.
So as they work to get Eddie Cheever Jr. out of his car, this is Al Unser Jr. 104 laps are complete, just past the halfway. Little Al is 25 laps since his last pit stop. On the first stint, he went 79 laps.
And a few of those under yellow, but some great strategy there to leave him out, make up the lap that he was down, and now he's leading the race. A few more yellow flags, Al Jr. will be able to make this race on just 1 stop.
Well,
now
Scott, I can tell you exactly when they are going to stop. On lap 168. That means they could go the distance with just 1 more stop.
Eddie Cheever Jr. is out of his car, obviously disappointed that his race has come to an end. The others involved in this incident are Scott Sharp and Anthony Lazaro. And once again, we will go back and take a look at what happened. Again, this was shortly after the green came out. Looked like Lazaro, Scott, spun and collected the other 2.
There again, after a restart, the tires can be cold, as we talked about before. You can see the car come around, and then it takes out the other 2 guys, and those guys are just victims. Now, Lazaro's car, you saw, the left front wheel came off. It went underneath his car, which caused his car to get up into the air. A couple of cars get into the grass, and off they go. Now, here we are in slow motion, and you can see what happens. Lazaro is right there. His car's already going around, and he's coming out from behind him. And now watch as you get further into the play. The next couple of guys are just going to get collected as he goes back towards the wall. And as I mentioned before, these guys just become passengers. Eddie Cheever getting the back of the car in, Scott Sharp getting the front of the car in.
And this is at real speed with Scott Sharp.
Now here he goes, turns into the turn.
Yellow, Scotty, yellow, nowhere to go. We're in the wall, guys. He had nowhere to go. You all right, bud?
Fine, guys. They trashed the car. Lazaro or someone spun in front of me, know where to go, boys.
in slow motion. We talked about it before. There's Lazzaro already going around. And you saw from the in-car camera from Scott Sharp, he was in the right line, the right place, and had nowhere to go.
And there's Lazzaro's car getting airborne for just a moment, but then settling back down. Lazzaro, of course, is driving for Sam Schmidt. A couple of other cars had to take evasive action and into the grass.
Now here we are on board Scott Sharp's car, and you can see what happens here. He's got nowhere to go. He cannot go to the right. He's following behind Eddie Cheever. He's on the right place on the racetrack. He's following the line exactly where he should be. He ends up punting the back of Cheever's car and ends up going over the front of Lazzaro's car.
And so yet another caution interrupts the activity here at Phoenix. And before this, Robbie McGee was involved in a 3-car accident with Felipe Giafoni and George Mack.
And Bob, outside the medical center, Robbie McGee was the first of the drivers to be released. Obviously, everything is okay from your standpoint. Can you tell us what happened?
I wish I could tell you a little better what happened. You know, it's a real shame. The Scottrade car was really great, and we were really excited with the run. And on a restart, someone wasn't patient and spun out, and basically all I saw was smoke and a bunch of banging. At the end, I got out looking at Philippe, and it's you know, it's too bad. It's really a shame. We had a great car, and it's not the way you want to get our sponsor Scottrade on TV.
Yeah, that's for sure. Felipe Giafoni has also just been released. You okay? Any concerns or problems now other than the fact that you're not racing?
No, I'm fine.
Tell us how your day was going up until that incident.
I was going pretty good. I mean, we were not having a very good restart, you know, but right after a couple of laps, my car was hooked up. We were pretty strong, and it was a shame. I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know if Bud Lazier slides and hit me in the inside, or if somebody in the outside. I was just in the middle, so I couldn't really see what was going on.
Okay, and we have one other update, and that regards Mack, who is inside, and we are told by Dr. Henry Bach that he is alert, conscious, walking around and talking. He thinks they're just going to hang on to him for just a little more time before they determine if he needs to go somewhere for any further examination or will be released here.
Thanks for the update, Gary. 109 laps completed at Phoenix International Raceway.
At Phoenix International, Al Unser Jr. works with traffic, but here comes Salazar. Salazar comes around Unser Jr., and Salazar goes to the lead.
Outside, clear.
Outstanding move. Takes advantage of the traffic. We talked about that before. And sure enough, you have to get off the gas just a little bit like Al Jr. did. And now he's lost momentum, and now he's going to go further back.
Clear.
Yeah, that little battle may have been costly for Unser Jr. because DeFerrin came around into second place. Now Jr.'s got to worry about Hornish. But the front 6 are all right together.
And Scott Goodyear, let me update you on you're wondering whether Mr. Hornish is running in 5th or 6th gear. He has both gears, but thus far, according to Gary Pedigo, they've elected to keep him in that 5th gear, which pops him up on the rev limiter, as you alluded to.
Well, what that does, it will let him get out of the corner a little faster than if he was running on 6. It might tell us that that 6th gear might be a little long for what he's trying to do right now with traffic, but it seems to be working because he's getting past people left and right.
Hornish comes up to duel with Al Unser Jr.
Outside.
Hornish on the front stretch, comes past. And so Jr. goes another position down the 4th.
Catching a pack of 5 cars here at about half a lap.
That voice you hear may sound familiar. That's Pancho Carter, who is calling the shots as he has for Sam Hornish Jr. And Pancho Carter has always said that one of the things about Sam Hornish is that he runs so well on the short tracks like Phoenix. We are trying to chase down a rumor that Eliseo Salazar's spotter may indeed be one Greg Ray.
The yellow flag comes out. This is for debris. So the yellow flag out for a new leader at the 143rd lap, Eliseo Salazar. We'll return with more of the Bombardier ATV Copper World Indy 200 after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Well, when we went away for break, we were under caution. We did have the pit stops. This is Eliseo Salazar, who was in the lead at the time. He was first to stop, then DeFerrin. Now watch the difference between the 2 pit stops. DeFerrin will get in and out of the pits in 7.4 seconds, whereas it took Salazar 11. But leading the procession off of pit road was Helio Castroneves. So Marlboro Team Penske now is running in first and second spot with Salazar third. Then comes Sam Hornish, followed by Buddy Lazier, Al Unser Jr., and Jacques Lazier, and Robbie Buell, the final car on the lead lap. Saturday, join ABC Sports for opening day of the 2002 Major League Soccer season. Chris Aramis and the Chicago Fire face Brian McBride and the Columbus Crew live at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific, here on ABC, home of the 2002 World Cup. Down to Gary Gerald.
Hopefully a final update from the medical center. It's been such a busy day back there. Eddie Cheever has been released. He went out another door and we didn't get a chance to talk to him, although we are told that he may be available to us within the next 10 minutes or so. Of more concern, Anthony Lazzaro is going to be transferred to Good Samaritan Hospital in Phoenix, where they will do some x-rays on his back. He's complaining of some back pain. It's purely precautionary, we are told. Let's go to Jack.
Well, Gary, with heavy hearts, Team Penske is competing here. They lost one of their team members, Gary Buckner, last Friday. This wreath rests in Gilles de Ferran's crew. Bob Jenkins, he was an integral part of this Team Penske, and he will be missed. He changed the rear tires on Gilles de Ferran's car.
Indeed, all of our hearts are heavy because of the loss experienced by Marlboro Team Penske just last week. Well, we're set to go back to racing once again with just a little more than 50 laps to go, Paul.
Castroneves takes the green, followed by de Ferran. Salazar in third. That's Hornish fourth. Buddy Lazier keeps just slowly working his way forward. He's now in fifth. Unser Jr. back in sixth. Excuse me. Buddy Lazier sitting there in fifth, going back now behind. Jacques Lazier sits behind Unser Jr.
Watch Sam here. Oh, he's almost there. Almost touch. How he got away with that, I'm not sure. I can tell you that's got to raise your heart rate.
That was an accident. They just forgot to tell Hornish.
Well, he's a little fearless, and I don't think he pays attention to those things. Working the wheel, as you saw.
Looked like the back end jumped on him.
Oh, well, he's going to keep his foot into it, no doubt. But the tires are just coming up to temperature. They just finished a pit stop, don't forget. He's got to start building the speed up, get a run on him, and start to slip underneath them, either on the inside or else on the high side. Now, we're hearing that rev limiter again. I got to believe that sixth gear that's in that car right now is too long for him to use. Otherwise, he would upshift and take advantage of the speed that that gear would give him. You also see him fighting the wheel a little bit right there, coming through 1 and 2, right mid-turn. A little bit of that is because he's in dirty air from the car in front of him. He's turning the wheel more than maybe he wants to, and it's called understeer. The front wheels are underreacting to the amount of steering that he's placing into the car. The car is not working exactly as he needs right now.
Well, we'll watch that battle for third. The leader, Helio Castroneves, just cracked the lap at 168.3 miles an hour. He's running in clear traffic. Almost everybody else behind him down in mid 167. Now the pace picks up to 168 for everybody. Now as we watch the leader, we'll check speeds at the line for you. Castroneves crosses.
His teammate Gilles de Ferran just a little bit quicker, maybe taking a little bit of advantage of the draft from the car in front of you. The car in front breaks the air for the car behind, allows the car behind to get through the air just a little quicker. But both these guys right now are out in basically clean air, no traffic in front of them, trying to pull away.
What you can't get away from, though, is how fast Salazar is running. Third quickest last lap. He's giving that car a ride.
He's giving it a great ride. And if you recall back at Miami, they only did 2 days of testing before the Miami event. Where did they test? Right here at Phoenix.
157 now complete for the leader, Helio Castroneves. His teammate at Marlboro Team Penske, Gilles de Ferran, right behind him. Then this battle, Salazar and Hornish. That interval between the cars in the battle for third. sitting just back from this fight is Al Unser Jr. Robbie Buell's still in there too. He runs 6th right now. Let me give you the comparison once again with the 2 Penske cars running together, and then Salazar, the 11 car, in 3rd. We'll be back with more from Phoenix International. Back at the Bombardier ATV Copper World Indy 200. Helio Castroneves has just completed his 166th lap. He is the leader, followed by his teammate, Gil de Ferran, 1.1 seconds back. Been an interesting day, 166 complete. Had plenty of cautions and 5 different lead changes. Look at this. Look at this as de Ferran goes to the outside of Castroneves, and de Ferran picks up the lead. Whoa, de Ferran just suddenly, he saw the slower car ahead. He took advantage of it on his own teammate.
Castroneves got caught up in traffic going into 1, had to get out of the throttle. It killed his speed coming out of 2 all the way down the backstretch, all the way through the dog leg. And Gil de Ferran did a nice job drafting, getting around him on the high side.
So as we're watching the Penske team, remember at start we were wondering how Penske would fare versus the Panther team. Panther sitting down in 3rd right now. Well, both of the Red Bull cars are out, and Kelly's luck of the Irish is kind of split. Unser Jr. is still up in 5th place. The Lazier is running together, 7th and 8th right now, but Buddy is falling quickly backwards.
Quick update,
Paul. Go ahead, Gare.
Just a quick update on Buddy Lazier's problem. He says the car's pushing all over the place. That's why he slipped from 5th back to 8th, and he's really got his hands full.
Oh, not only him, but we watched Robbie Buell just a second ago, and Robbie's car was walking itself around. You saw him sort of getting it sideways, coming out of 2. A little bit of traffic, as we're always having a problem with here. Jacques Lazier doing the same thing, trying to get past Redon. Looking high, looking low. Looks like he'll make it on the high side now.
My Jack car is Laurent Redon from France. And Jacques getting a little, you know, why don't you just get me out here?
We used to always say, excuse me, pardon me, coming through, and that's exactly what he did.
So you're right on board with Lazier. That's Dare, Scott's pick for doing well. But he just passed 5 laps behind the lead.
And I've lost a little bit of money today, guys.
But it's interesting, the 2 of the passes that have involved Salazar have also involved Dare. Been right there in the middle of them.
And Sam Hornish took advantage of it last time, getting a draft off of Dare. And then you saw him actually push aside and get through the 2 of them. I thought it was just a great move between Dare and Salazar.
They're going to display the black flag to Laurent Redon, the car that you just saw everybody cycling around, a change in tone on the engine there.
Clear.
Join ABC Sports for the World Figure Skating Championships, presented by Expedia.com. Coverage begins on Thursday night with the men and the women on Saturday night. Don't miss that on ABC Sports. So, Hornish sitting currently 2.3 seconds behind the leader, now Gil de Ferran. Castroneves just up ahead, 2nd place. What do you think Hornish can do with this? He's done very well in the past.
Well, he's obviously going to be looking for traffic, trying to get past these guys and take advantage of the traffic, but we still hear him on the Revlimir going down into turn 3. I speculated before that maybe they didn't have 6th gear. We had a report from the pits that they certainly did, but I got to tell you, it's going to get very interesting.
Oh, it's getting very tight right now. Hornish closes in on Castroneves. They both come by Dare. And the caution comes out. Yellow flag comes out. You heard it was for debris. IRL Race Control puts the caution on, and it's just because one of the observers found something on the race course. They want to slow the cars down. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Fellas, you know how in a regular football game or in a basketball game, a head coach will work the officials? Well, that's exactly what this man, the captain, Roger Penske, has been doing with his IRL official assigned to his pit box. When both of his cars were working heavy race traffic, Roger Penske would turn his back and get the attention of his official, keep waving his hand and asking for him to radio, how about a passing flag? How about a passing flag? I like it when he looks a little bit like the general. Bob?
Without question, one of the most colorful characters in all of auto racing. 2 weeks ago at Miami Homestead, it boiled down to Panther against Marlboro Team Penske, and that's exactly what we have here this weekend at Phoenix. We'll be right back. As you rejoin us, the green flag comes out once again on lap number 183, and it's a battle up front, Paul.
Front of the field all together, but look at the battle within Marlboro Team Penske. Castroneves is low, DeFerrin is high, Hornish is right there watching.
Now I'll tell you, Sam Hornish is thinking, guys, come on, just do a little rubbing here, give me an advantage. But those Penske cars have pulled up from Hornish very easily. I'm impressed with how quickly they can both run side by side through the turns.
DeFerrin takes a look inside of Castroneves, and now DeFerrin falls back a bit.
Tried that move in 1 and 2, had to get out of the throttle, lost a little momentum, a little speed. Now he's got to get back to the pace so he can actually catch up to his teammate.
Guys, remember on Friday in the first practice sessions in the afternoon, these two team cars went out there and they ran in tandem through traffic. Maybe that homework is paying off right now.
And Gary, also remember that before Roger Penske declared for the Indy Racing League, he did extensive testing, not only at his home track, Nazareth, but also right here at Phoenix. And that is coming into play, I'm sure, in setups today.
+0.9, +0.9.
Well, now the gap first to second remains about the same, just over 0.8 of a second. Hornish sets back from the leader 1.8 seconds. Laps are counting down.
Another car with a bad motor, Robbie Buell, going by a moment ago. It's way off, sounding very flat.
So as we watch this battle at the lead, Robbie Buell, who is currently 8th, set the Yamaha fastest lap of the race, but now he's bringing that car into the pits at 170.6 miles an hour on the 122nd. But it looks like Buell's day may be done. He gave that car, T-Rex car, just gave it a great ride, though. He was up in the fight most of the early race.
You're going to have traffic at turn 3 right now, so you're going to catch him before it's over. You got 13 laps to go.
Back with 3rd place, Sam Hornish Jr.
You heard Pancho Carter speaking to him, telling him that traffic's coming up, telling his driver.
These guys in traffic, Sam, we can't afford to shift. Just leave it in 6.
Well, there's the answer,
There's our answer.
I can't afford to shift. So that tells me they're having problems in turns 1 and 2, trying to get out of there, using 5th gear to get the car launched out of the turn. And Andy Brown, the engineer, told them just to leave it in 5th, not to use it in 6th, because they probably have some gearbox problems. They don't want a chance of gearbox failure. They'll take the points for 3rd.
April 21st, the Indy Racing League returns to ABC for the Firestone Indy 225. It's the final race before the Indy 500. We'll see which teams and drivers have the momentum heading into Indianapolis. The Firestone Indy 225, April 21st, right here on ABC. Now closing on the last laps of the race, 10 to go. Castroneves, DeFerrin up front, Marlboro Team Penske. Thrilled for a moment there with Sam Hornish Jr., the winner of the first race at Miami. The Pennzoil Panther entry. The start. We mentioned that these two teams are probably going to be the battle throughout the season. Al Unser Jr. still staying in this fight for Kelly at 5th place right now.
That's an exceptional job, I'll tell you. From the problems they had over this weekend, the qualifying problems they had with both cars, I think they're going to be very satisfied to go home if they end up in 5th.
You saw Hornish Jr. has led the most laps. John Herb just ahead of Helio Castroneves, gives him room on the inside. DeFerrin's coming, but it's not going to be enough.
+1, +1.
+1 is the fuel trim setting. telling you have lots of fuel to use. Go ahead, go to +1, gives you more horsepower.
You know, we have seen teammates take one another out. We saw it at Miami, where Scheckter took out his owner and partner, Eddie Cheever. Never seen that in the Penske team. Looks like this may come down to a good battle, though. Castroneves now inches away from DeFerrin.
And Paul, do you see those two cars directly in front of Castroneves? Peter Twiggy, who works for Marlboro Team Penske, has been on a motor scooter up and down pit road, going to whoever the next lap vehicle is going to be to talk to the team and try and convince them that they should give way to that blood red and white car with the Brazilian on board.
Well, here they come. They're coming up behind Ricky Treadway. Almost a little bit of
It's going to be interesting. I'm not going to poke my nose in there. Whoa! Treadway runs Castroneves just a little high. Now he's up behind Noda. And he gets a little breathing room. Now DeFerrin has to deal with both of them.
And look who's lurking in the background. Sam Hornish Jr. He's going to try to take advantage of any traffic he can.
Whoa, baby. Hornish gets right up on the back end of DeFerrin as he comes under Noda.
See Sam's right hand coming off the wheel, making an adjustment on the roll bar, trying to get the car to handle just a little bit different through the turns.
2 to go now. Hornish still has to get around Treadway if he wants to do battle with DeFerrin. Castroneves 2 seconds ahead of DeFerrin. White flag comes out, 1 mile to go.
White flag.
So Sam Hornish, how do you play it? Do you play it safe? Final lap for all of them.
He's got no choice, Paul. He's not going to catch the guys in front of him. If he has to finish behind Treadway, just take the points. It's a long season. There's a championship to win.
And Helio Castroneves becomes the 29th.
Way to go, guys.
29th different winner to win an IndyCar race at Phoenix. Marlboro Team Penske, 1st and 2nd. Panther Pennzoil 3rd.
Start finish on the racetrack, Helio. Start finish on the racetrack.
All right, which fence is it going to be? The race is over. Salazar managed to hang on for 4th, Unser Jr. for 5th. The Lazier brothers, 6th and 7th, led by Jacques. Billy Boat in 8th. Ricky Treadway 9th, and Noda rounds out the top 10. Bob Jenkins, interesting finish.
As Helio Castroneves brings the car to a stop here on the racetrack at the start-finish line. To no one's surprise, look what he does. Up on the fence. The Castroneves winning tradition continues. We saw it at Indianapolis last May, and he's on the Phoenix fence right now as he shakes the fist, and the crowd gathered here salutes the winner of the Bombardier ATV Copper World Indy 200. Here's Gary Gerould.
And with Roger Penske. Roger, I know this has special emotional meaning because you lost Gary Buckner within the last week, and we heard Tim Cindric on the radio telling the guys that this one is for Gary. It's been kind of a bittersweet day from that respect, hasn't it?
That's right. We lost a great guy. Guy had been with us for 9 years. We said before the race that this race was for him, and for us to finish 1-2, he was there.
Terrific job. Congratulations.
Thanks. Jack?
Well, Helio Castroneves has completed his first Indy Racing League fence climb, and you cannot stop the passion in this guy. You got to come down here and stop climbing these fences until we're done with the Victory Lane interview. Congratulations. You said to me last night that this is exactly how you wanted to do it. Points be damned. If it came down to a pass for the lead, you were going for it. Little did you know it was going to be against your teammate.
I tell you, what excitement. I was patient. I took it easy. He was very strong. She was very, very strong. But my friend, when I got it right. I said I'm gonna do it. And fantastic. What a great team. Our team Penske is just a fantastic team. And just want to thank my engineer, Andy Borm, did a fantastic job. Team Cindric, Rick Mann, everyone. You know, Jesus. Wow! Here we go!
And that is Penske Panther 2. I can't wait for Fontana.
Well, there isn't a more likable and dynamic personality in all of sports, as far as I'm concerned, than Helio Castroneves. He just has an incredible attitude about life, and when he wins, he really celebrates. Let's take a look at the full field rundown. Marlboro Team Penske finishes first and second, then Hornish. AJ Foyt's Eliseo Salazar was fourth. Al Unser Jr. was fifth, and there were 7 cars on the lead lap at the end of the competition. Sam Hornish led the most laps here this afternoon, 67. Castroneves led 62, and after that, Al Unser Jr. led 39. Other leaders included Gilles de Ferran, Eddie Cheever, and Eliseo Salazar. So that's the entire field rundown here at Phoenix as Helio Castroneves has won. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Sam Hornish wanted this race so badly today to make his winning streak 3 straight, 2 straight here at Phoenix. It didn't quite happen. Clear up the situation with 5th and 6th gears. What was the problem you were having there in the latter stages?
Right before we lost first gear, 5th, I was having trouble getting it in and out of gear and keeping it in there. And then about the last 15 laps, we didn't have 6. So when I came up and got a good run on them and on the Penske cars, but don't have your top gear and you're holding it in 5th gear to keep it running. It's kind of hard to concentrate on passing.
Round 1 to you 2 weeks ago, round 2 to Penske this week, round 3 next week at Fontana. What do you got in store there?
I don't know. Anybody knows. I don't think anybody really knows, but the Pencil Panther guys did an awesome job for me again this week, and just didn't work out our way today.
A lot of points though. Jack?
Talking about points, Gilles de Ferran got some valuable points today. Take me back to the pass by your teammate, Gilles.
Well, I tell you, I had a restart, and I really kind of hit the rev limiter in 2nd gear, and that kind of lost me some momentum. And I run under the no blocking rule, so I didn't block Helio going into 1. We went side by side through 1 and 2. But I tell you, it was a great day for Team Penske, and if you don't mind, I'd like to take this opportunity to dedicate this result to Gary Buckner. The guy passed away last week, and his whole family. And you have no idea how important he was for me. He worked on my crew, and I wanted to bring a victory for him and his family. But Helio did it today for us, and I just all my thoughts and my heart and my prayers are with Gary and his family.
And we share the same sentiments and send the same feelings to his family. Bob?
Gilles de Ferran finishes in 2nd position. The point standings as we head for Fontana. Sam Hornish remains on top by just 4 over Castroneves. Then Gilles de Ferran, Eliseo Salazar, and Jeff Ward are the top 5. So the score is now tied. At Homestead, Miami, it was Sam Hornish Jr. beating Marlboro Team Penske, and here at Phoenix, it was exactly the opposite results, with Team Penske finishing 1st and 2nd and Hornish in 3rd position. So now we look forward to some more activity. That will be a week from today, as you will join us on ESPN for some action at Fontana, the California Speedway, the first time that the Indy Racing League has ever competed at that racetrack. Helio Castroneves celebrates as he always does by climbing the fence here at Phoenix International Raceway in celebration of his victory. Salazar finishes in 4th spot. Al Unser Jr. was in 5th position at the end of 200 laps. Coming up next, except on the West Coast, World News Tonight Sunday. Join us for more Indy Racing League action at the Yamaha Indy 400 next Sunday, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. That will be on ESPN. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com, keyword ABC Sports. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence.